Hey guys, I'm April from Giggle Glitter Graphics, and I am here today with your new Friday freebie plus the assembly tutorial for my Frosted Peaks project kit. If you're on the email list, you will get the free project sent to your inbox around noon Eastern today. And if you're not on the list, you can sign up by going to the description down below, signing up, and have the project sent to you immediately. You will also find a link for the Frosted Peaks project kit in the description down below, and you can check that out in my Etsy shop. Whether you junk journal or not, I think all of these projects are great for a cold winter's day. You can do them on your own. You can print multiple copies and do them with your kids or your grandkids. This makes for a great craft project, and if you do junk journal, these can be added to your journal as extra embellishments. So let's start with some tips and tricks, and then we'll get started on our freebie project. You can find a list of all of the supplies I have used in the description down below, and I'm going to go over them really quickly here. Everything has been printed on 110-pound cardstock. For the free printable and for some of the other projects, you will need to print the back sides of some of the pages. Those pages will be marked and indicate what paper to print on the back. So just check those pages, look for directions, and print the appropriate papers on the back side. You can print the back sides of everything if you want to, but that's not really necessary. Once you get everything printed, I recommend cutting out all of the pieces ahead of time, and then I like to do the edges in Vintage Photo Distress ink. I feel like it makes everything pop and adds more depth and dimension to your project. For cutting everything, you will need a paper trimmer or scissors. You can use a cutting machine. I do provide PNG files for those of you who like to use cutting machines. So use your favorite tool of choice to cut everything out. For adhesive, I am recommending Beacon Fabri-Tac. You're going to want to use an adhesive that has a pointed tip. That way you can control where the glue goes and be able to do thin lines of adhesive. With all of that out of the way, let's get started assembling our freebie project. Now there are a lot of pieces here to look at, but I'm going to recommend that you put a lot of the extra little ephemera pieces off to the side. That includes these labels and the mountain pockets. And we're going to start with these 4 panels and this little strip here. So we're going to start with the mountain panel. It has a tab on it, and you want to get that tab creased and folded all the way over to the back side, nice and neat. Maybe fold it back and forth a couple of times because this is going to be a cover panel flap that's going to open and close. The other piece you need is this snowflake panel, and I've printed the back side of the paper on there as well. And we're going to attach these two together. To do that, I am going to glue that tab right to the bottom of the snowflake side of the paper. Now I recommend flipping this over real quick. This is going to be the back unless you decide to decorate the back on your own. This is the back side of the project, so you might want your mountains to be right side up, so make sure you have those facing the correct way. And then I'm going to run a bead of glue right across the bottom of this panel, just one little line, and then place that tab there, flip this up, and then make sure that these are lined up right along that bottom line and then side to side. Also make sure you don't have any glue leak out onto your panel. Next, we're going to flip this panel down, and I'm going to grab one of my mountains, and you can use any mountains you want on any of these. You can kind of match them up however you see fit. I kind of like the look of this, but these all are sized the same, so you can just decide which mountain pocket goes on which of these back panels. And I am just going to glue this little side, a nice thin line of glue across the bottom, and then another little line of glue up so that we're making a pocket. And then I'm going to place this right here. And then fold up and check that fold. Make sure that everything wants to open and close nicely. Now you can go ahead and add your mountain pockets to your other 2 panels. Same thing. And I'm going to check the back sides of these. These are going to flip up. So I'm going to look at them and see, like this one can go either direction. I'm just going to make it so when I flip it up, my mountains are the correct way. That's not really super important, or if you find that when you printed it, it just kind of printed the wrong way around, it's not a big deal. At least you have a pattern on the back side. it's not, don't stress over it. But again, I'm going to look at this and flip it, and you see, turn that, flip it. Now my mountains are facing the right direction. And I'm going to glue this pocket in place as well. Three sides, and then lined up all the way to the bottom. All right, let's grab our base panel again, and I'm going to run a little bit of glue right across the top of this. We are going to fold this piece so that it can go up and down, and the fold is going to be about right here. So when you put your glue down, you can fill up this space so that it's glued down really well. You can always come back and add a little more glue later. Don't overdo it. You can use this as kind of a gauge and see how far down you should glue. Get a nice coating of glue on there, and then line this up at the top, like so. Now I'm going to repeat that method with this next pocket. And you can see these are layering up down here. They're all even at the top. And again, I'm going to use this as kind of a guide on how much glue I'm going to put in there. Right across the top. And put that in place. Right, like so. Now we've got this final strip, and this can kind of go either way. I like it this way. All we are going to do is glue the very top of that. This is going to be a latch to keep this shut. So we only want glue on the very top edge. So I'm going to turn this over, run a bead of glue along the top. And you can see how much space we have here. So you do have a good amount of room, but you don't want to glue too thick and then not be able to slide that, tuck that panel underneath. And again, line this up right at the top, and then let all of this dry really, really well. Now this is dry. The first thing I want to try is my latch. Let's make sure that this is going to tuck underneath. So you might need to give this a little bit of a lift the first time if it's glued down too tight, and see that this lays flat. Mine is laying flat. If yours does not lay flat, you've put too much glue, then you can just trim the top of this. It's not a big deal. Just trim it a little bit. You have quite a bit of overlap, so a tiny slice might be all you need. Otherwise, you can take your scissors and go underneath and try to loosen up that glue joint. So my latch is working. Everything is closing up nicely. So let's go ahead and fold these. It's kind of like a mini waterfall panel. So I'm going to grab a ruler. You do not have to use a ruler. I'm just using this to get a little bit of a sharper edge. You can use your fingers and just kind of push along there. But I'm going to take a ruler and I'm just going to fold right up over that edge. Make it nice and clean. Let's double check that it's straight. And when I'm folding that up, it's nice and straight. And then I can use my ruler, I can use my thumb, I can use a bone folder and crease that. So now I have a flipping panel, and I'm going to repeat that here with my second panel. I'm just going to fold right up over that ruler and give that a crease. Now I'm noticing my pocket got a little uneven there whenever I flipped it up. I didn't get things lined up quite right. So I'm going to trim that off. I'm just going to turn this. Let's see if there's a way. I'm right-handed. It's on the left-hand side. Spinning around until we find a good way. And I'm just going to trim that. Sometimes these things happen. Let me check my other ones. Give that a little bit. It's just a tiny little bit on that one. I'm being a little fussy. So, all right. So now we've got our flips are flipping. Right like so. And our latch is latching. Just like that. Wonderful. So now we're ready to fill this up with some cute things. So let's go with the bands. I've got these 3 little bands, and I thought these would be really cute right on top of the mountain. So it doesn't matter which one you use on which pocket. I'm just gonna put a little line of glue on the back of each one and place the strip like so. And then repeat that for the next 2. Just as a little embellishment. This is a great place if you want to incorporate other materials like a little fabric or other papers underneath to add your own touch. This is a great place to do a little bit of collage work. Use your creativity on these. You certainly don't have to stop at what I'm giving you. You probably have craft supplies or junk journal supplies or things like that floating around your house, so feel free to incorporate those. And now I'm going to be ready to start putting my ephemera in. So I've got these 3 tags, they're graduated, there's 3 different sizes. So I'm going to put the tallest one in this back panel. I'm going to flip this down and put the medium one in the middle, and then the smallest one is going to go into the top. And then everything else you can really kind of just put wherever you want. I think I like the bunny here. This cute mountain there. And just fill the pockets up. Now there is a bunch of ephemera pieces. There was a little extra room on the page when I made these. So I included these 4 kind of grungy ticket pieces. And you can tuck those right into the pockets, or you can use them to do a little collage work on the back, because the back of this is blank. For me, I'm going to glue this into my journal, so I don't mind this being blank. But if you want to do something on here, you can kind of arrange these maybe with a little bit of paper or something else. Just do kind of a little collage with these tickets on the back and come up with something that you're happy with, just to have a little decorative element on the back side. Otherwise, you can tuck them right inside or save them and put them into one of the other projects, or even do a little collage work right down here. So you have some room for creativity on this one. So now I am all done with our free Frosted Peaks project. We've got kind of a little waterfall situation. If something is catching, and like this one's catching a little bit, you can trim the tag down just a little if your glue has gotten too thick down here. Just make adjustments to the pieces so that they fit in there a little better. And then I can just flip this up, pop this right underneath, latch it, and there is my finished little project. Now that we've finished our free project, we're going to move on into the actual Frosted Peaks project kit. Remember, if you enjoy the freebies and you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe so you can get notified whenever new videos are available. So the next project we're going to work on is a quick one. These are the pocket tags that are in the kit. And I'm going to grab one of these really quick. The main base panels are quite large, and they each have a tab. So nothing on this needs to be printed front and back, but you'll see where this notch is. I took some Distress ink on my dauber, and I just scrubbed it in there really quickly just to have a little bit of a tint in there so it wasn't a stark white. So keep that in mind. Do that if you want. You can also glue a little piece of scrap paper in there. Anything that you like in there just to add some texture and interest. So here is what this tag looks like. There are 3 of them, and it's got this flap. We're just going to fold the flap up right onto the inside and then fold this tag in half. I'm going to grab my Fabri-Tac and I'm going to glue on the colored part of this tab, right like so. And then I'm also going to put a little glue right around the top angles of this, just these 3 little angled pieces there, just to kind of glue the top shut. There's a tab too, but I wanted to give that a little more security. So we've got glue at the bottom and then glue just around these 3 sides like so. For the front of this, you can kind of mix and match the pieces on this. I do have them organized with the base and then a little pocket and then a round, I believe, all on one page that kind of go together. But you can mix and match these pieces however you see fit. So we've got this pocket piece, and I'm just going to glue to the 2 straight sides here. right across the bottom. And then position that right on the front. And then I've got a tab, and you'll see the tabs say I've got feathers, I've got hooves, and I've got furry. So you can kind of see where feathers goes with the owls, hooves, there's some little goats and rams, and then furry, there's a rabbit and fox theme on the other one. So they do kind of have a little theme on each one. I'm just going to grab this tab. It's inked around all the edges, folded in half, little glue on both sides. Now, I think these tags would be great as little gift tags for holiday gifts, that kind of thing. I'm going to put these right into my journal on the pages. I might sew them in so they kind of flip around. I'm not sure. I've got some ideas for that. But let's see, I'm going to pop that right over the top like so. I've got that. And I'm just going to tuck this card right in so that the tab is nestled where the notch is. It should poke right in there. And add my couple of embellishments to the front after my pocket is dried. And there is your pocket tag. And all three of these are going to assemble the same way. And here are all of mine put together. You can see they kind of have fronts and backs. If you don't like those unfinished backs, you can always put a little distress ink or paper or anything that you want on the back side. So this is a quick and easy one. It will go great in your journal. I think this is an easy one for kids as well. This is a great one to do with little ones because there's not quite as many pieces or things to do. And these are going to look great tucked into my journal. All right, let's start moving up in complexity and let's go with the folio. This is kind of a folder slash folio piece. And let's go over some of the pieces real quick. So the piece that you need to print front and back, and there is a special paper marked folio that goes on the back side of this panel here. This is the base of the whole folder. So make sure you print the back side of that. Everything else is optional. And when it comes to this piece, if you're cutting by hand, just poke a hole in the middle and then take your scissors and cut that inside edge. That's what I did with mine. You are going to have 3 tabs on this piece that need to be folded in. 1, 2, 3, nice and flat on the back side. And everything else is pretty self-explanatory. So I'm going to move a lot of this ephemera and things like that to the side. And let's start with these pockets. I think there's another pocket here. There you are, little mountain pocket. There we go. Let's start with those pieces. So let's start with the main folder. I'm going to open this up. I prefer the lighter at the top, so that's how I'm going to position mine. You can do it however you like. I'm going to close this up. I'm going to grab my round piece, my frame piece, and I'm just going to glue these tabs. So I've got them all folded down, and I'm going to put some glue on each of these tabs, just like so. And this is going to go right on the front of my folio. And it should line up right at the bottom and at the sides. So kind of move that around until it lines up like it should. I'm going to open that up and look for weird overhang. And you can always put a little distress ink if things aren't quite right. But I am pretty happy with that. Let's now open this up and I'm going to start placing the pockets on the inside. So we've got a tall pocket for the left, and I am just going to put glue along the straight sides like so. And let's line that up all the way on the left-hand side. And then these are layered pockets. Just going to run a bead of glue along those straight sides and line it up all the way to the right and the bottom. I neglected to ink. I usually ink that center crease for you guys so you can kind of see how things are lining up. There we go. That'll help you. So all the way to the right. That looks good. And then my mountain pocket is going to layer right over that. All right, next we're going to grab some smaller pieces. I've got this lace and burlap pocket that we're going to place over here. 3 sides. And this is going to position right down here. And then there's this little snowflake card that's going to be another mini pocket right on top of that. 3 sides. And then centered right on here. And then since we're in this area, I'm going to go ahead and grab, there's a little burlap and lace strip, as well as this mountain tag. And I'm going to layer those up over here on this side as an embellishment. Right like that. And then another quick line of glue, and I'll center that right up on there. And then I'm going to put this whole thing, I'm going to leave it open so it can dry. I'm going to kind of put it off to the side here. And let's grab this huge card. So you can use either the Fabri-Tac or a glue stick, whichever you prefer. We're going to glue this entire thing shut. So I am just going to go crazy, not too crazy. And I'm also going to go around the edges and get this glued shut. The glue stick might be a little better, but I find the Fabri-Tac dries faster for video purposes. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm just going to use a bone folder to kind of squish that glue around inside, get a nice crease on that folded edge, and then I'm going to go off to the side off my work surface and really press that, and if some glue comes out, I'll clean that up. All right, so my card is all glued together. I'm going to go ahead and trim this edge up because I got a little off on my fold, so you could leave it. You could just be more careful with your fold. I'm going to trim that little curlicue of card off just to neaten it up, and then add some more Distress ink to finish my edge, like so. And then I'm going to grab this big tab. This guy is quite large, and I'm just going to glue the inside of that, fold it in half, give it a little glue on the inside, and I'm going to fold that right over the top of this big card. And it should be the same on the front and the back. And this is a really big tab, so you have some leeway. Just try to center that up as best you can. And then let's flip this over. Even can probably fold it. I think things are dry. This should slide right down in here. A little coaxing, and now we have a mountain scene inside. I'm getting caught on that tab at the very bottom. I'm just going to kind of, there we go, pop that in there. So now we have a mountain scene, and then this whole card will slide out. So now we've got a couple more pieces that get tabs. I've got this feather card and then this lined card. And I am just going to grab those tabs, this little tiny tab, this tab, that's for the feather card. Let's go ahead and get some glue on that. Just pinch that right over the top. And then I'm going to do the same for this one. Right over the top. And now I'm ready to start tucking my ephemera inside of my folio. So I've got this really cool piece, Discover Frosted Peaks. That's going to tuck in right over here. Got another big piece. this side pocket, I'll slide my feather card in. Little fox can go right in here. Let's put this lined card in the back. Now, as always, you can put things wherever you want to put them. I do design with certain places in mind, but you are not held to that. Got this fun bird card, snowflake key bookmark, got an owl, kind of a ticket piece, and a slide. And then there are a couple of extra pieces that you can tuck in anywhere that you want. I just had some space left whenever I was designing. You could also, again, this is blank on the back in case you want to glue it. This is going to be a cover for my journal, which I have right here. This is going to go right on the front of this. I might do some lace, doily, something underneath of it to create some layers. But for me, this is going to glue and be a journal topper. But if you're using this on its own or for a different project and you want to decorate the back of this, maybe use a couple of these ephemera pieces or whatever to decorate the back of it. But for now, I'm going to tuck mine right inside like so and make it extra full on that side. And that is it for the folio. All right, so now we're down to our last and perhaps the most complex of all the projects, and this is the trifold. So for the trifold, there are 2 pages that need to be printed front and back. You get this snowflake texture pattern. The piece with this burlap panel, this is our back panel, that page will get printed front and back. And then the page with these 2 pieces on it will also get the back side printed with the snowflakes. And we're just going to start right off the bat with all 3 of these pieces. So we're going to assemble the trifold, and these 2 side panels each have a tab. And I've just folded that over nice and tight, inked around the edges. And I'm going to flip this. This is the back. So this is the inside and this is the back of the trifold. And I'm going to, let's see here, so that I don't get things backwards. Let's hook this panel right over, flip it over, and then we're going to glue this tab down onto the back. So I'm just going to put a line of glue right along here. And press that tab down, and then make sure that we're lined up along the bottom. That bottom edge is nice and straight. And then let's do the same thing for this pine cone panel. This is going to flop over like so. Turn it over. Little line of glue. Make sure you're lined up at the bottom here, and then at the side, and then fold that over. So now we've assembled the basic functioning part of our trifold. Next, let's go ahead and put the back panel on. The back panel is a large pocket. It has 3 tabs, like so. And you're just going to fold all of these in and give them a really good crease. So I'm going to grab my bone folder. These go on much smoother if you've got a nice tight crease down. They'll just sit nicer and glue down a little easier if you've got these as flat as possible. I'm going to go ahead and put glue on all 3 of these tabs. Put my hand in the way. Like so. And then this is going to line up with the bottom and sides of the trifold. Right like this. Double check everything is lined up correctly. I like the Fabri-Tac because I can slide it around a little bit. And that looks pretty good. So let's move to the inside. I'm going to flip these open. And there's a couple layers of pockets on the inside. I was kind of trying to imitate the look of mountain ranges on the inside. So let's start with the burlap pocket. I had a lot of fun with this mountain theme. So I went all out with the pockets in this. And we're just going to glue these in. So let's start with the left one and glue these 2 straight sides. 1, 2, all the way to the point. And then match this up with the point on the left and the bottom. And then you always want to do a fold check. Make sure everything is folding over nicely. If you're using a liquid glue, it might push it a little bit. That's fine. You're getting it out of that crease so that things can fold close nicely. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and do the center one. We're going to do 3 sides. The bottom, left and right. I'm going to kind of fold this up so you can see lined up with the bottom. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm right in the center there. Nice and straight. And then the right hand side is similar to the left. We're going to put right along those straight edges. Line it up with the bottom and get the points all the way to the end. Now if you're using a liquid glue, you can adjust these just a little bit. Do our crease check. Make sure any extra glue is out of there. And that is the first layer of pockets. And now there is a second layer of pockets with this kind of wood and botanical theme. And we're going to apply these in the same way. So I've got the left-hand pocket right along these straight edges, all the way to the tip. Oops. And I just dropped it and got glue all over my project. So if this happens, grab a paper towel, especially with the Fabri-Tac, and I just do a little buffing motion and it will kind of roll up. You might get a little paper towel stuck in it. Just persevere, stick with it, and just remember it's digitals, so you can print another one. If you really messed it up, you can print another one. So the glue will kind of roll off. Make sure I didn't glue anything shut. And if you do have a little print come off, you can grab your distress ink and kind of dab a little bit on if you've got some white paper showing through. So that's your tip of the day when that happens. The glue looks like it's still wet, so let's see if I can go ahead and stick that down. Just line that right up with that burlap pocket. All right, back on track. Center pocket. Line it right up with that burlap all the way to the bottom. And then the right hand pocket. Straight edge here and then all the way to the tip. Like so. Now let's put this to the side. Fold check real quick. The first one's folded well, so these should fold well as well. Get any excess glue. And then we can always firm those creases up just a little bit after this is dry. So I'm going to put this to the side. And we've got a couple of tabs we need to apply. So there is a lighter tab and a darker tab. You can put them on either one of these. Kind of mix and match them if you want. I like this lighter tab on the bird card and the darker one on the mountain card. Get a little glue in here. Pinch that right over the top. Try to line it up. Make sure it's centered. And then same thing on this one. You might notice some of these have print on the back side. That's because they were on the same sheet as one of our base panels. So as a byproduct, they have a little bit of print on the other side. All right, there is our mountain card. You're gonna let your pockets dry super well, and then we'll start putting the ephemera in. All right, everything is dry. Let's do one more crease. I'm just going to go, especially where those pockets are kind of overlapping each other. Firm that up so that everything stays closed. And pop that open, and let's start putting some of these pieces in. I've got my big bird card. I'm going to place that here. I think here I've got moose and this pure mountain snow. put that in here. On this side, I have this pretty pine tag. I'll pop that back there. Got another slide and kind of a fun little just decorative ticket piece. Pop those there. And on this side, I have kind of mirrored items, little botanical tag. See if I can get that all the way in there. And a slide with a pine cone on it, and one more ticket kind of piece. Just fold that up, flip it over, and right into the back, we can slide our mountain card. Now, at this point, this can be done. You can tie a ribbon around this to hold it shut. I like to use Velcro dots. It's my favorite thing. So I'm just going to place a little Velcro dot. There's always a white side and a clear side. So I try to pick and choose. I think I'll put the clear here and then the white over here. And let's just kind of go right about there. Press it closed. And now I know that's not going to pop open on me. I could still add a decorative ribbon or something like that, but that's just going to hide it shut and you don't notice them too much. So that is it for my trifold. Well, I hope you've really enjoyed this video today. Remember, you can get your freebie by signing up for the email list in the description down below. There's a new freebie every Friday. Everything from ephemera to projects, anything I come up with that week, that's what I send out. And then these 3 additional kits are part of the Frosted Peaks project kit. So you can get those in my Etsy shop. Link for that in the description down below as well. If you'd like to stay up to date on the newest videos from me, please like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.